Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Salt and Vinegar Podcast. I am Salt, and Diana
is Vinegar.
We have a special guest for you today, coming right out of the woodwork. Good old vertical shift writer, Lorne.
Hello, I am Lorne. Fresh from the virtual world.
Making a quick stop here.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta go back in the virtual world after this. They don't let me out often.
Yeah, you gotta go to the metaverse right after this.
Exactly, I gotta head back to the metaverse. Hey, we are a metaverse product, technically. We're not quite funded by Metaverse yet, but we're looking forward to being funded by Metaverse one day. I'm looking at
Instagram says that. Have you seen Instagram says that now? When you boot up Instagram, it says brought to you by Meta.
Oh yeah, they're rebranding the Oculus into the Meta. So it's no longer the Oculus Quest; it is the Meta Quest. And
oh no,
I am not going to say on the record what my stance is on that.
Oh no.
The Salt and Vinegar Podcast editorials do not reflect the overall corporation.
There is a plot of land that sold for $1 million in the metaverse. I just wanted to let everyone know.
Well, and you know what? You can buy a tower and vertical shift for $1 million.
Oh my!
The city of Orion beckons you.
Dude, that's what's up.
We accept PayPal, Venmo, however you want to pay us.
I got Venmo, so that's what's up.
An arm and a leg. You know, your plasma?
No, I'm not really into a pound of flesh. I prefer cash.
No kidneys. All right. So obviously right then and there, we've got so much segue power going to go ahead and ask the, goodness, I guess like the third question or some of the
Well, I guess I
questions
should
down.
Introduce myself as the CEO of Corrupted Media, which Corrupted Media Productions, and then I'm also the lead writer on Vertical Shift, which is our first game. It's a virtual reality multiplayer esport with a single-player mode as well. And in our game, you swing around dense cityscapes, and we give you a grapple hook, jetpack, and wingsuit. And we've got multiplayer game modes that are a ton of fun. We run regular tournaments on it. And we will be coming to Steam and the Oculus App Labs this Christmas Eve, so keep an eye out for us. Wishlist us on Steam. That's my plug. I'm going to do it at the beginning.
Do it right at the beginning.
Wishlist us on Steam. I'm looking at you.
No, I mean, it's good that you didn't do it last because, like, so many people, as soon as YouTubers do, like, ad reads, it's always at the end. Mm-hmm. So by that time, people have, like, already most likely have clicked off.
Oh, yes. Don't underestimate the amount of podcasts I consume daily.
I've been watching H3, so that's been.
Well, plug our favorites, why don't you?
I mean, I'm saying he had to redo his ad read because he messed up the plugin, so he had to redo the ad read.
Ethan can never mess up. How dare you? No.
Oh my! It was on the topic. But one of the questions that we have is first experience with VR.
Oh yes. So my brother, who is the one of the lead developers on the project, is my brother Sean. He got a Quest before I did. He has been in VR for a while and would have just constantly be messaging me with like, Lauren, you got to come over and try this. And so I'd come over and play, like, Blade and Sorcery, a lot of the early games, and they would absolutely blow my mind. And so I went, when the Oculus Quest 1 came out, I bought one as soon as I could, because really, before the Quest, I wasn't that sold on it because the wire had to come out of your head and plug into your computer. And I found that to be really immersion breaking for me. Some players don't mind it. I know lots of VR players who swear by PC VR because you get better graphics, but to me, I was willing to accept less graphics to get that wire off my head. Once the Oculus Quest came out, I wanted that thing so bad, and I got one as soon as I could to play with my brother. And what we ran into almost right away was there weren't very many games that all the people we knew with Quest could play together. There were I could count on one hand all the multiplayer games that could fit more than 2 people. And I had more than 2 friends who could play. And so that's kind of where we started wanting to play Vertical Shift, was from the beginning of VR being accessible headset. And it was uncomfortable and weird, and I was walking around with an Xbox controller. It was a weird time. It kind of left me like, I don't know if VR is going to be for me. So the next time I put on the headset, which was 3 or 4 years later, I was absolutely blown out of the water. I was in another world. Full blown. Full stop. Like, this was insane. I think my brother put me in a game. It was like a James Bond game. And I was in an airplane, and the airplane was crashing, and people were shooting at me. And I was really into it.
Yo.
And so when the Quest came out and it brought the price of VR, because at that time, to get a headset was $500. To get a computer that could run it was like $1,500. And so you're walking away $2,000. That was a little outside my price range at the time. I was eating ramen noodles. But when the Quest came out, it brought the price down to, the Quest 1 was I think $400 for its base model. That was enough that I could, split it with my brother for a Christmas present to myself, or birthday present, whichever it was. Nice. And then we could play together. And then we ran into okay, well, there's not very many games for this thing yet. At the time, I think there was a total of 100 games on the Quest. Which, compare that to Steam, I mean, that leaves so many holes, and a lot of those games, like a lot of what's coming out on Quest right now and in VR, is blank but in VR. So a pre-existing genre, but in VR.
Yeah.
So, like, we're getting a lot of shooters in VR. We're getting a lot of roguelites in VR. We're getting a lot of Souls-like in VR. But what we were looking at it and thinking was, well, there are new genres that VR presents. Like, we think grapple hook games is going to be a VR genre, which is why we're going straight for it, because you can't do what we do in traditional gaming. If you look at, like, Spider-Man, the Spider-Man PS4 game, right? Fantastic game that we definitely were inspired by. Swinging in that game is pressing A over and over again. Swinging in our game is aim for the tower you want to swing on, pull your grapple hook, or pull the trigger. Your grapple hook will go out. You'll be on a line. You can reel it in as you need to increase your arc. You can use your jetpacks to even things out. You're moving your body and your arms just like a certain superhero I will not name might. It's so different that, without those motion controls, you couldn't do what we're doing. And so it's a new genre. It's a new kind of thing. And we're not the only grapple hook game out there so far. We are the best grapple hook game out there, don't get me wrong.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'll throw those fighting words down. But we've played some others that have come out, they've been in development alongside us. And I think it's going to be a whole genre, and I think other genres like that are going to show up. I've been very focused on this one. But VR rhythm games, I think, are going to be another one. We've already seen that genre explode, and rhythm games have been around forever, but they're so different in VR because they become like dancing movement games. Like Beat Saber is a really good example.
Okay.
That was not your question, but that was my tangent.
It's okay. Ryan, do you want to ask a couple?
Okay, sure. Then I'll go ahead and, let's see.
We have, like, a whole bunch of, like, potential questions.
Yeah.
Bring them on. I've got a lot of potential answers.
So here we are. I'm going to go ahead and jump to number 9 here because this is about writing. I was checking out your Twitter last night briefly, and I guess I got like an automated response because I followed and someone was like, "Thank you for following. Please let us know if you know anything."
Oh, that was not automated. That was Lois.
Oh, cool. Hi, Lois.
Lois is our community manager. For those who don't know, don't have the privilege of knowing Lois.
Now, is that the same Lois?
That is the same Lois who was on your previous podcast.
That's right. Okay, that's
She's
awesome.
my artist friend.
Yeah.
And she's my artist friend too. And she could be your artist friend too if you go to loissongster.com.
Exactly.
Donate or something. No.
She has a Patreon. I'll plug Lois's Patreon. You can't stop me.
Heck yeah, we don't want to. So I love the lore drops you guys do on Twitter. Apparently, every so often you do like a lore drop status.
Yeah,
I'm
we
a
do.
lore nerd these days. I watch a lot of lore theory.
You can barely tell you're not in the real world when you're in there. Um, so I really recommend the Oculus Quest, and that's what we're going to be launching on both that and on Steam for the more traditional headsets. So that's the first big myth, is that VR is too expensive. I mean, $300 is cheaper than the Nintendo Switch is.
That is true.
And yeah, exactly. And the other thing is motion sickness. VR games have come a long way in terms of motion sickness, and there's been a lot of techniques developed to reduce motion sickness. I'm not gonna say that no one's gonna get motion sick playing VR games. There are still some games that get me pretty bad, but what I've found is the things that induce motion sickness the worst are movements in the game that are very regular to the player. For example, walking in a VR game with a joystick, that can churn my stomach like nothing else. But because, I've done a little bit of walking, I imagine you guys have walked a moment or two.
Just a moment or two, yeah.
Yeah. So your inner ear, which is what causes motion sickness. I'm not a scientist, so don't quote me on it too much. But when your senses are detecting movement, but your body is not, certainly when it's movement that's familiar to you, your inner ear starts screaming, "This ain't it. You must be sick. You must be poisoned in some way. Something must be up," and so you get motion sick. But when it's a movement you're not used to, for example, I imagine neither of you have ever used a grapple hook or a jetpack.
Yeah, I'm not Batman or Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone in the audience, you can leave me a message and tell me about your grapple hook experience. But
Oh yeah, I'll send you a picture.
Yeah, exactly. But for the rest of us, we don't have experience with that. And so when you are doing it in VR, since it's your first time, your inner ear, can accept, all right, maybe this is what it's like to grapple hook. And so you don't get nearly as motion sick. I've had friends who have told me they won't play VR because of motion sickness, who tried my game, and or our game. A lot of people work on this. Who tried vertical shift and were like, wow, that didn't induce motion sickness at all. And we've got other considerations we put in. One of the main causes of motion sickness is a source of acceleration that isn't tied to a physical movement. For example, hitting forward on a joystick. But another major consideration we put in vertical shift was in our game, when you have a grapple hook out, you can zip towards your anchor point, which is a big source of acceleration. In our original iteration of it, you could double tap the grip button, and that would be how you zip. But we were finding that was causing motion sickness in some people. Not everyone, but some people. And we were looking at it more. And we decided to create a motion control for that. So you could yank back with your arm to zip forward. And we found that almost entirely got rid of the motion sickness from that movement, because your body is tying the movement to your arm moving, just like they tie your walking with your legs moving.
I see.
Lots of other VR games put in these kind of considerations. There are still VR games, if you're motion sick, probably the big shooters where you run around the arena aren't for you. But there's also lots of games like Beat Saber that involve no movement in the game. Everything moves around you instead, which is much more natural to your inner ear. And there are games where you just sit, like I think it's called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, where they just put a big panel in front of you and you got to defuse a bomb. And there's no walking, there's no moving around, you just move your arms and sit in a chair.
The exact opposite of like vertical shift.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So I had a question. So right there, when you were saying a bit ago, you were like, "This isn't my game. This is our game." Good segue into talking about how this obviously was done in a team effort. And one of my questions that I had here was, how was it like finding people to make this stuff go off? Because, for instance, me and Vinegar over here are working on our own writing project, And so far, it's just us two, and it is hard to find able bodies. How did you guys find the people?
So we kind of found if you build it, they will come. Once we started posting online and we had a build people could play and the mechanics were implemented, and it became a lot easier to draw people to the project because we had online presence. There was a product that was ready, and one of our artists, he also introduced us to Casey, who's another artist on the project. And because we were going to them with, this is our world, this is all the stuff, we need your art, and we could see how your vision would plug in. I feel like they felt empowered by it, like they didn't have to build everything from scratch. And in terms of our development team, I mean, the team formed in the dorms of Kennesaw State University here in Atlanta, or I guess just north of Atlanta. And it really was starting out as like the core founders were a group of friends who played VR games together and said, hey, I think we can make one of these. And I think we can make one that no one else has made yet. And that's how the core formed. It was just, let's hang out together and make a VR game. And then from there, once the product was created, we could attract more attention and talents that we didn't have in that core team from the beginning.
Sure. And I guess a segue question. There's two different names going on here. There's Vertical Shift, and then there's Corrupted Media. And I'm guessing, obviously, Vertical Shift is the game, and Corrupted Media is the, I guess, like the company.
That's right. Yep, that's our development studio. So Corrupted Media is creating Vertical Shift.
Gotcha. Because sometimes, I don't know, maybe I've heard it wrong, but I've heard some people sometimes will go up to me and be all like, hey, check out this company called Vertical Shift. And I'm like, what? Yeah. How long has Corrupted Media been going on for?
So we started Vertical Shift around 2 years ago. We incorporated Corrupted Media at the beginning of last year. So there was a time that it was just Vertical Shift.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But we've got bigger ambitions than just Vertical Shift. We're starting a team here, and we want to be one of the early VR studios. What we found is just there's not a lot of AAA games coming out, which is making this a uniquely wonderful opportunity for indie studios. Because we can make a big splash in virtual reality that we would not be able to make if we were just releasing, a 2D platformer on Steam.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like there's like an underground, I guess like, there's a lot of underground progress going on in VR because, I hate to say it, but like, I mean, VR is really not in like, on the TV right now, right? Like, it's all, I mean, right now, recently it's Witcher and Sonic the Hedgehog, but like, but like a lot of, I don't feel there's a lot of coverage on like VR. VR was big back in like 2017, 2018 for a split second when VR Chat had that Ugandan Knuckles meme, and then it just died. Yeah. And then it just went underground. Yeah.
I mean, I'm biased because I have a headset and I play it regularly, and Facebook knows that. Because my internet is blanketed in VR stuff. It's bizarre to me. Like every time I can't go on Instagram without seeing an ad for the Oculus Quest, and every time I'm like, I already have one of these. Shouldn't you be sending this ad to one of these people who tell me they've never heard of the Oculus Quest?
Right?
It's for you to do a annual company. Oh, here's a giveaway. Just follow us and like.
Yeah, I'll go buy another Quest. Yeah, well, probably not the best use of our budget so far. I had you were asking a question, and I had an answer for it. Oh yes, that's So when VR first came out, there was a lot of attention on it, but those headsets weren't really ready for major appeal.
Yeah.
Like back then, I'm a huge advocate for VR now. Back then I was not, because I found the wire coming out of my head and plugging into the computer. Just like I felt like it would jerk me straight out. Before at that point, a lot of VR games didn't have motion controls, which really was disorienting for me. I still can't play VR games without motion controls or without seeing my hands. Because I find that disorienting. I know people who don't. My brother played through a mod of Grand Theft Auto, where he played it on his controller with a VR headset on. He had a great time. I'm pretty sure I would have thrown up.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, and it looked like fun. I wish next year there's going to be a total tangent, but next year they're going to port Grand Theft Auto San Andreas to the Oculus Quest, and I am so excited. But that's all VR was 4 years ago, when all the articles were about how VR was going to take over. And of course, those modules, it's kind of like how the first iPhone was not the iPhone for getting headsets that are for mass adoption. Most people could play the Oculus Quest. And it doesn't have much competition yet. I think Steam, this is just, my prediction, I'll call it on the podcast. I think Valve is going to have their own standalone headset within the next year and a half. But for now, it's just the Oculus Quest that's standalone.
Did they already have one? I thought I saw there was something called the...
It's a PC VR. It plugs into the computer.
Oh, okay.
Well, and they also have, Steam has also is trying to do a version of the Nintendo Switch where you, put $5 down, and then...
I've got it on pre-order. Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Can't wait. That's why I think they're going to have... I think the Steam Deck is Valve's first attempt at a mobile processor, so that they can come out with a standalone VR headset. Because I want to take a second and just really harp on the distinction, because PC VR is when you have a headset like the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive or the Valve Index, and those headsets are just lenses and audio and a headset. They have wires coming out of them that go into a computer, and they have these kind of like infrared sensors that go up on the wall in front of you, and that's how they track you. That is how every single VR headset on the market works, except for one, the Oculus Quest. The Oculus Quest has its sensors inside the headset, and all of the processing, all of the computing the Oculus Quest does is inside of the headset. So it does not require any computer, it's totally standalone, and it's half the price of those other headsets.
Because, the thing is, headsets to me seem so very clunky. I have a small head, which can fit a lot of baseball caps or, hats or stuff. But, when something is, kind of mostly on, my eyes or whatever, it kind of, makes my neck go a little down. So I'm hoping, sometimes maybe in the future, they'll be... I mean, because I've never worn one, so I don't know how heavy they are, but they look heavy for my head. So I'm hoping they'll be much lighter, or not as, hugely, I guess, compact like a car.
The Quest 2 is lighter than it looks. I'm actually, holding mine in my hand right now and just kind of balancing it to feel it out.
I'll take you at your word.
The PC VR headsets, those things are light. They're super light. Because they don't have a computer in them. The Quest had to take on a little bit of weight in order to fit a computer inside. You can kind of think of the Oculus Quest as a cell phone strapped to your face. It has an ARMS processor like a cell phone, or a smartphone rather. So it can accomplish about the same things. That does limit kind of just how pretty you can get on the Oculus Quest. But it's still, I think our game still looks pretty good.
Oh, another thing that just came to mind just now. This would have been such a good thing to write down. So when I said earlier, oh my gosh, VR was so hyped 4 years ago, but then it just kind of... So the thing is, have you seen these weird VR... It's not quite scams, but it's things where it's VR. There are phone roller coaster VR things you can get at the App Store on your phone, and then you shove your phone into just these weird strictly VR goggles. Have you seen that?
I have seen those. Hold on just 1 second. Be right back.
All right. Intermission. You got it. Hi, hello, Diana.
Hello.
Do you like this copyright-free jazz music?
Yeah. Did you mute your mic because there's an ad?
Yeah.
Earlier?
Yep. Yeah. The world is nothing but ads these days.
Darn.
Speaking of
Darn.
ads, speaking of how the world is nothing but ads these days, MeUndies.
Oh my god. Stop. I mean, our order, I think it's on its way.
Oh dear lord.
Okay, I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yes,
hear you.
hello.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. We were just talking about MeUndies. So.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
I don't have a pair, but I certainly did get a Raycon after I got poked on an ad.
Interesting. Raycon.
Well,
Some
hopefully MeUndies sees this and will sponsor us at some point.
And you know what? I hope Raycon picks you guys up too. They seem to have sponsored
Oh.
half the internet.
Like strictly podcasts, like they hit up everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that. But to answer your question from earlier, yes, that was that's what do they call that? The Google Cardboard.
Yeah.
Where you could stick your phone in a box and put it on your face, and you would get kind of the cheapest VR possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so. A lot of people, I have more than a few people will tell me, I tried VR and it wasn't for me, and I'll ask what headset they used. And they go, oh, well, I had a Google Cardboard 2 years back. I'm going to just definitively say, that is not representative of the modern VR experience.
Yeah, and that's what I was exactly trying to get into. I feel like one of the things, too, that's kind of kept VR underground right now, and, I don't mean to make too much of a pot shot, but, like, I feel like it was that stuff. Because
absolutely.
that stuff got out and about, and people were like, oh, this is VR? Oh, this is stupid. Yeah.
But then, also, I remember the very first iPhone I saw. I thought it was incredibly stupid. I was like, why? What is the point of this thing? All it does is just call people with more buttons involved.
I remember when the BlackBerry was getting popular.
Oh my god.
Am I old? I remember when the BlackBerry...
Oh my god.
Yeah, to be clear, my memory of the iPhone coming out, I was in middle school, but I thought everything was dumb.
How old is the BlackBerry now? I can remember.
What? BlackBerry?
Yeah, that's
You're
like a
25. Let's
pager phone, right? Like, anyway.
But I mean, I think that's just sort of the path technology takes. The first versions come out, and they aren't going to have everything that the technology promises yet, because they need more iteration. We have a saying in the Corrupted Media team, we say it to ourselves a lot, that iteration is a lot easier than generation. Mm-hmm. Making up something new, very hard. Fixing something that already exists, very easy. Not very easy, but basically it's a lot easier to criticize.
Yeah. Because, like, I see lots of VR things where it's, like, not... I said remakes in the question because I didn't know the word for it. But I know sometimes VR, like, takes, a popular game like, GTA or something and, like, transport it on there. So I think, that it's very... I think it's cool to have, like, an original, like, thing to be put on, like, Vertical Shift, because then people are like, oh, this isn't just, like, a reboot. Or this isn't just, like, oh, now it's available on VR type of deal that you get with, like, Nintendo Switch of, like, oh, well, now you can play Mortal Kombat 11. So I think that helps if, like, VR has more original things. Will help it kind of, like, be like, oh, there is more to this than just, like, shooter or just,
And, I mean, I appreciate you saying that about us, but we're not the only ones. VR is filled with so many original ideas right now. So many new kinds of games. So many games unlike any game you've ever played before. That's part of why I push people towards VR so much. So much innovation is going on in the space that it feels like... I've often had the feeling that for the past 10 to 15 years of gaming, we've just been getting the same games with prettier skins. We've seen very little actual innovation in terms of gaming. And that's not to say we've had nothing but bad games. I've had plenty of games that came out that I loved, but they were all really just like another version of a game that came before it. It's not like the 90s when the first-person shooters were coming out, and this was a totally new type of video game you could experience. VR is where that's happening now. VR Like, the games coming out in VR right now, I think are going to be remembered the same way we remember Half-Life and Doom from the 90s, where they're taking new technology and to create totally new ideas in gaming that can be explored. Like, for example, swinging from building to building.
Yeah.
We
Like
do
you
love
can
being
in vertical
Spider-Man.
Which
well,
is
I can't
like
say that, but you can.
one question here.
I'm
Can you
keeping an
walk?
eye out for the I'm keeping an eye out for the mouse.
Oh, yes. You know, you guys should do a farming sim, by the way.
I actually, there is a farming sim coming out right now that is called, what's it called? I think it's called Loam. There's some others too. Farm, gotta get this one game out.
Yeah.
But absolutely, Corrupted Media. We're gonna be around. You'll hear our name.
Yeah, and we'll like tell people to wish list, you know, Vertical Shift. I'll save up to get a headset.
You can come play with us. Yes, wishlist
Yeah.
Vertical Shift on Steam. I've been promised that it'll be in the link will be in the description below. And now that I've said it, they're held to it.
Yeah, we're you know virtual pointers are on our foreheads.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. Diana, is there a question you wanted to ask?
Oh no, I was just trying to my mouse was being weird on my computer, so I was just looking at it. But no, like it's been great to like you know, talk to you and stuff like that, and hopefully we can do more interviews even after Vertical Shift comes out to like
Absolutely.
you know see the progress and the responses to it.
Absolutely. I'm happy to hop on anytime you guys will have me.
Yeah.
And we've got a bunch of other people on this team who can give you more details onto the actual building of a video game.
Yeah, and definitely shoot there, you know, where we can get a hold of them, so we can probably have a chance to talk to, you know, each person in the team.
Yeah, not all of them may necessarily want to be on a podcast.
No, that's totally fine.
They make video. They're coders. Some of them are
No, that's
quiet
totally
people.
okay.
They'd rather code a podcast. I see. That's all good.
But oh yeah, they'll build you an incredible video game. Let me tell you. After this video, after our release, which is going to be Christmas Eve on Steam and Oculus App Labs, wishlist us on Steam. We're going to be releasing the beta then, and then hopefully breathing a little bit easier for a few weeks before we dive into the next update. So that'll be a good time to reach out to us, talk to us more.
Ready.
For sure. So I guess
Yeah.
early January then.
Early January. I'll talk to you then.
All right.
Alrighty,
well,
man.
we'll let you get to your next meeting. Thank you for taking a moment to talk to us.
Oh, you guys have been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you guys and your audience.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
All right, well, y'all
Alrighty,
take
guys.
care.
You too.
You too.
All right.
I'm waiting for like the Discord hang up sound.
Discord hang up sound. Wait, no.